Welcome to MotionSpark. In this video, we're building this 3D smart glasses animation in After Effects entirely from scratch, with absolutely no plugins. Let's dive in. First, let's create a new composition and name it Glasses Animation. The key point here is to go to the 3D render settings. To ensure the 3D object model works properly in After Effects, let's change the classic 3D setting to Advanced 3D, and click OK to create our composition. Now, let's drag and drop the background image into our workspace and click the lock icon in front of the layer to lock it in place. Next, let's drag and drop the glasses model into the workspace. In the pop-up window, click Make Comp Size and press OK to add the model to our scene. With the model layer selected, press R on your keyboard to open the rotation settings and set Z rotation to 11 to correct the model's orientation. With the model layer still selected, press P this time to open the position settings and create our first keyframe. Move to the 2-second mark on the timeline and add another keyframe there. Now, let's go back to the first keyframe and position the glasses so they are outside the scene. Go to the last keyframe and set the Z position value to 140, which will be just enough for our setup. Finally, select all keyframes, press F9 to apply Easy Ease, and open the graph editor to fine-tune the keyframe speeds. Great, now let's go to the last keyframe, select the text tool from the toolbar, and type our text. Head over to the Align panel on the right side and center the text perfectly in the middle of the scene. Next, open the scale settings and enlarge the text. Here, we want only the outline of the text to be visible, so let's double-click the text, enable stroke in the character settings, and turn off fill. Nice. Now let's place the text layer behind the model. Add a keyframe to the scale property of the text, move back 1 second on the timeline, and add another keyframe. Now go to the last keyframe and scale the text down. Great. Let's head back to the first keyframe. Hold Shift and press T to open the opacity settings. Create an opacity keyframe at the first keyframe, move 10 frames forward, and add another one. Go back to the first keyframe and set the opacity value to 0. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease. Open the graph editor to adjust the speed of the scale keyframes only. Nice. Staying at the last keyframe, select the text layer and go to the Edit menu to click Split Layer to cut the layer. Double-click the upper text layer. This time, turn off stroke and activate fill. With the text layer selected, press S to open scale settings. Remove the existing keyframes and add a new keyframe. Move forward 30 frames and enlarge the text so it matches the model nicely. Select the keyframes again, apply Easy Ease, and adjust the keyframe speed using the graph editor. Awesome. Now let's return to the first keyframe of this layer and open its opacity settings. We will add a total of 7 keyframes at 3-frame intervals. Our goal here is to create a flicker effect as the text approaches. Set the first keyframe to 100%, the second to 0%, the third to 100%, the fourth to 0%, the fifth to 100%, the sixth to 0%, and keep the last keyframe at 100%. Finally, select these opacity keyframes and choose Toggle Hold Keyframe. We do this to prevent After Effects from gradually interpolating between values, ensuring a crisp, instantaneous flicker effect. Great, now let's select the text tool again and type our second text. Next, use the Align panel to center the text once more, open the scale settings, and enlarge it so it fits the composition perfectly. Double-click the text layer, activate stroke, and turn off fill. Now let's select our other text layer and press U to reveal all active keyframes. Go to the very last keyframe and add a keyframe to the scale property. Head back to the first keyframe and scale down our text. Now hold Shift and press T to open the opacity settings. Then add a keyframe. Move forward 10 frames and add another keyframe. Return to the first keyframe and set the opacity value to 0. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease. Finally, select the scale keyframes, open the graph editor, and fine-tune their speed. Now, let's do a quick preview to check if everything looks good. Great! Let's head to the last keyframe and close all layer settings to keep the workspace clean. Duplicate the text layer using the Ctrl+D shortcut and press U on your keyboard to reveal its active keyframes. Remove all keyframes here and shorten the layer length. Then, press P on your keyboard to open the position settings and add a new keyframe. Move forward 30 frames and shift the text upwards above the first text. Then, head back to the first keyframe. Hold Shift and press T to open the opacity settings and add a keyframe. Move forward 10 frames and create another keyframe. Go back to the first keyframe and set the opacity value to 0. Now, select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease. Select only the position keyframes, open the graph editor, and fine-tune their speed. Nice! Let's duplicate the layer once more and move it below the other text. Press P to open the position settings. Go to the last keyframe, and this time position the text towards the very bottom. Great. Now, exactly at this point, at the last keyframe, I want the letter A to move to the left and the letter I to move to the right. First, let's select the AI2 layer and use Split Layer to cut it. With the Cut Text layer selected, take the Rectangle tool and create a mask so that only the letter A is visible. Nice. Now let's duplicate this layer to make a copy. With the duplicated layer selected, press M on the keyboard to open the mask settings and activate the Inverted option. This reverses the mask, making only the letter I visible this time. Now select both layers, press P on the keyboard to open the position settings, and add keyframes. Move forward 30 frames, create keyframes again, and animate the letters moving off-screen one by one. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease. Finally, open the graph editor and adjust the keyframe speeds. Great. Now, as the letters move, the other glasses texts also need to exit the scene. So let's select the glasses text layer and press U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes. Staying at the last keyframe, move forward 10 frames and add a keyframe to the position setting. Next, move forward another 30 frames and move the text completely out of the scene. Now, let's apply the exact same process to the other text layer. Awesome. Now, let's select the middle text layer and press T on the keyboard to open the opacity settings. Go to the previous keyframe and add a keyframe to the opacity property. Then, move forward 10 frames and set the opacity value to 0. Now, let's do a quick preview to see how it turned out. Great! Now we can close all layer settings to keep things organized. Right at this moment, let's add a rotational movement to the glasses. To do this, let's create a new null object in our scene and place it at the top of the layers. Now, let's position the null object right at the center of the glasses. Enable the 3D box in front of the null object layer to turn it into a 3D layer. Next, change the view from active camera to top and align the null object precisely to the exact center of the model. Great! Now let's switch back to the active camera view. Finally, link our glasses model to the null object layer using the parent pick whip. Right at the moment the scene clears up, open the rotation and position settings of the null object and add keyframes to all of them. Move forward 40 frames on the timeline. Adjust the rotation settings of the glasses by eye, and use the position settings to bring the glasses to their final position in the scene. Lastly, select all keyframes, apply Easy Ease, and open the graph editor to fine-tune their speed. Great! Now I want the model to rotate a bit faster here, so I'll shift all keyframes slightly forward. Now, let's do a quick preview. Awesome! Now I'm adding a pre-made spectrum animation to the scene and setting its timing to align perfectly with the rotation of the glasses. Nice! Right as the glasses finish rotating and come to a stop, I bring in the informational video clip about the glasses and adjust its timing properly on the timeline. Currently, the animation looks a bit too large, so I'll open the scale settings, reduce its size slightly, and position it on the right side of the scene. Here, the background spectrum effect looks a bit too sharp, so I'll select the layer, apply the Fast Box Blur effect from the Effects and Presets panel, and set the blur radius value to 1 in the Effect Controls panel. Now to make the scene look much better, let's add a light source to our scene. In the light settings, set the intensity value to 100, and make sure the Cast Shadows option is enabled, so shadows are rendered properly. Click OK to add the light to our scene and move the light layer to the top. We're not quite done with the lighting yet. To achieve a more realistic look, let's bring in the HDR Texture light map that I downloaded earlier. In the light settings, go to the Environment/Source option and select the texture layer we just added. Now, open the Transform settings and fine-tune how the light reflects and interacts with the model. Great. Now, to define the duration of our animation, let's head to the exact frame where the glasses video clip ends and press N on the keyboard to set our work area endpoint. Awesome. Now we want the glasses to continue subtle rotation throughout the rest of the animation after its main rotation finish. To achieve this, let's add a new null object to our scene and place it near the center of the model. Make this null object 3D and position it above the previous null object in the timeline. Parent the previous null object to this new null object layer and bring it slightly forward. Now open the rotation settings of the null object and add a keyframe to the Y rotation property. Go to the very end of the composition and tweak the Y rotation value slightly to create a subtle, continuous rotation. Carefully align the timing of this layer with the end of the initial rotation so there are no sharp cuts or hitches, ensuring a smooth transition. This gives the glasses a clean, continuous drift effect for the remainder of the clip. Finally, press Ctrl+A to select all layers and enable the motion blur option. Now, let's render a quick preview to see how the final output looks. And that's it! Our animation is completely finished. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you never miss a new tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.